Calling to order the Monday, June 6, 2022 regular meeting of the 39th Council of the City of Berkeley. Ms. Mitchell, would you please call the sad roll?
Councilmember Baker. Mayor Pro Tem Dean.
Here.
Councilmember Gavin. Councilmember Hennon.
Here.
Councilmember Price.
Here.
Councilmember Villani. Mayor Turbeck.
Here. Our first order of business is the approval of tonight's agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Support.
Motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Dean with support from Councilmember Price. That is going to take me a while to get used to being on that side. Yes, I almost said somebody else. Okay. Has been moved and seconded. Are there any changes or corrections to our agenda? Easy to look that way too. Okay. Ms. Mitchell, would you please call the roll?
Dean.
Yes.
Hennon.
Yes.
Price.
Yes.
Turbeck.
Yes. At this time, please stand for the invocation and remain standing for the pledge. With us this evening is Pastor Rachel Dunlap.
Good evening, I'm Pastor Rachel Dunlap, Associate Pastor at Berkley First. According to the scripture passage from 2 Chronicles chapter 1, verses 11 through 12, God said to Solomon, "Since this is your heart's desire, and you have not asked for wealth, possessions, or honor, nor the death of your enemies, and since you have not asked for a long life, but for wisdom and knowledge to govern my people, over whom I have made you king, therefore wisdom and knowledge will be given to you. And I will also ask you wealth, possessions, and honor, such as no king who was before you ever had, none after you will have." God is a generous giver, and he loves to give. He will give his wisdom to anyone who humbly asks for it. It is his gift to us so that we may do what is right and just, so that we may live successful lives. Elected officials, if they ask for wisdom, will in turn govern our communities with enlightened hearts and minds and make sound, fair, and right decisions for all people in our region. Because of this, I ask, Lord, that you would give these city council members wisdom to discern the tasks that are before them. In so doing, Lord, may our community experience you in and through the events, activities, and updates, as well as new projects during these summer months and beyond. Guide the conversation this evening and give the city council members peace in their discussion and productivity in their goals. In the strong name of Jesus, I pray, amen. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we will now move to public comments. And these are public comments for items that are not included on tonight's agenda. You will have the opportunity to speak on specific agenda items while they are being considered. Remember, council members will not engage you in discussion, but if your concern needs to be addressed by a department of the city or a member of city staff, please sign in at the clerk's desk. When you come to the microphone, please state your name and city of residence.
Good evening, Mike McGinnis with the Berkeley Downtown Development Authority. Since it's not directly related to the agenda, I just wanted to very briefly thank and celebrate the Berkeley Department of Public Works and Director Sean Young. We were really grateful to partner with the City of Berkeley with the installation of the American flags all throughout our downtown district, of course, but throughout the entire community. So the Downtown Development Authority was really grateful at the opportunity to help financially underwrite that, but they did the hard work of literally being up above ground and making it happen. So I think it's really dynamic, and it really accentuates our downtown district and helps speaks to what Berkeley's all about. So just want to say thank you to Director Young and the entire DPW team for that opportunity to help lay it on thick with our American flags here in Berkeley. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. Mr. Mayor and City Council, in your previous council meeting, you made a proclamation declaring June to be LGBTQIA+ Pride Month in the city of Berkeley. I, along with the support of the leadership teams of Berkeley Community Church and Church of the King, want you to know that we commit to love and pray for our LGBTQIA+ friends and neighbors. While we do not affirm our society's attempt to redefine God's design of sexuality and gender as given in the Bible, we will do everything we can with God's help to communicate to everyone His indescribable value that they have to both God and us, or the indescribable value that they have to God and to us. And our congregations remain excited to see people experiencing God's wonderful, life-changing power at work in this community.
Tal? Anybody else? Anybody else? I see some people looking around. No? Okay. All right. We will close public comments and we'll move on to this evening's order of business. First up is our consent agenda. Ms. Mitchell, would you please read the items on tonight's consent agenda?
1, approval of the minutes. Matter of approving the minutes of the 39th regular city council meeting on Monday, May 16th, 2022, and the special city council meetings on May 9th and May 10th, 2022. 2, resolution number R1022. Matter of considering a resolution to receive a partial reimbursement of larvicide product costs from Oakland County. This is an annual program involving the placement of larvicide tablets in approximately 1,600 city catch basins to inhibit the growth of mosquito larvae. 3, proclamation number P2022, matter proclaiming June 19th, 2022 to be Juneteenth Celebration Day. 4, proclamation number P2122, matter proclaiming the week of June 19th through 25th, 2022 to be Lightning Safety Week.
Is there a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda?
So moved.
Support.
Motion made by Councilmember Price with support from Councilmember Hennon. Are there any changes? Seeing none, Ms. Mitchell, would you please call the roll on tonight's consent agenda?
Hennon,
Yes.
Price,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Turbrack.
Yes. Consent agenda has passed. We now move on to our regular agenda. Ms. Mitchell, would you please read item number 1?
Recognitions, presentations, matter of any recognitions or presentations from the consent agenda.
We just have proclamation P2022, which I will be reading this evening. A proclamation of the Council of the City of Berkeley, Michigan, declaring June 19th, 2022 to be Juneteenth Celebration Day. Whereas Juneteenth is a holiday marking the end of slavery in the United States, and whereas the state of Michigan began recognizing Juneteenth as an official state holiday in June 2005 with the passage of Public Act 48 of 2005, and whereas millions of African Americans were captured and brought to this country as slaves in inhumane conditions of slave ships that sailed across the Atlantic Ocean. And while approximately 11.5 million African Americans survived the inhumane conditions, it is acknowledged that many millions of African Americans did not survive the passage. And whereas it is recognized that slavery then existed in this country for more than 200 years until the United States Congress passed the 13th Amendment of the Constitution abolishing slavery throughout the country on January 31st, 1865. And whereas Union Army General Gordon Granger arrived in Galveston, Texas, several months after the passage of the amendment, and one of his first actions was to read General Order Number 3, which stated that all slaves are free and that former masters and slaves have absolute equality of personal and property rights. And whereas following General Granger's reading of General Order Number 3, celebrations erupted as slaves learned of their freedom, and subsequently, June 19th, now known as Juneteenth, became the emancipation date for those long suffering for freedom. And whereas since then, Juneteenth has been known as the oldest celebration commemorating the end of slavery in the United States. And whereas this tradition of celebration has remained strong in recognizing the great triumph against the cruelty of slavery and honoring and respecting the strength, endurance, and immense resilience of all African American ancestors who endured the shackles of slavery and those who persevered to see its end. And whereas citizens must join together to acknowledge the history of slavery and the oppression which followed its ending, and to further carry forward the ideals of equality and democracy for all, regardless of a person's racial identity. Now, therefore, the Council of the City of Berkeley hereby proclaims, Section 1, that June 19th, 2022 is hereby declared as Juneteenth Celebration Day in the City of Berkeley. In Section 2, the City of Berkeley calls upon the community to pause and reflect on the nation's history of slavery and oppression, to celebrate the progress made thus far in ending slavery and the equal rights milestones that have followed, and to acknowledge that more progress must be made to ensure those Americans of African descent are truly free and equal as we move towards a brighter future. Proclaim this 6th day of June, 2022, at a regular meeting of the City Council, signed by me. Ms. Mitchell, would you please read item number 2?
Oath of office to appoint Public Safety Officer Jean-Pierre Cormier.
Ms. Mitchell? Let's let LT get in position here in case he wants to take some pictures. Okay.
I'll have you raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I, Jean-Pierre Cormier,
I, Jean-Pierre Cormier,
having been duly appointed as Public Safety Officer
having been duly appointed as a public safety officer
for the City of Berkeley,
for the City of Berkeley,
do hereby solemnly swear
do hereby solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
the Charter of the City of Berkeley,
the Charter of the City of Berkeley,
and that I will perform the duties of my office
and I will perform the duties of my office
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my abilities.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You don't get away that easy. If there's anything you'd like to say, you don't have to, but.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Berkeley's always been known as a family-oriented community, and I look around and I see all the fellow officers and staff, and some of them are here away from their families to welcome myself and my family. It just speaks volumes about a organization. To say that I'm humbled and grateful to be here is an understatement. I've been blessed many times over with a wonderful family, and now this is the icing on the cake for me. I'm looking forward to serving for as many years as God will let me, and I will do my best for you always. So thank you very much to everyone.
Would you like to introduce your family?
Yes,
Over here?
this is
Sure.
my lovely wife, Martha. That's my twins, my daughter, Fiona Catherine, and that's my son, Jean-Luc.
Hi, guys. Welcome. Thank you for
very
being here.
much. Oh, thank you.
All right. Congratulations. Welcome. Chief, anything you want to?
Yeah, I just wanted to welcome.
All right, you got to get the
JP.
microphone here. Come on.
My voice was loud enough. Just wanted to welcome JP. We really appreciate somebody of his caliber wanting to work for us with his training, his experience. We're already seeing him excel here, so we're very happy to welcome him back
Yes.
because he did work here for a short period of time, 20 years ago? So we're really glad to have him, and we appreciate him becoming a member of our team and our family.
Thank you, Chief. And welcome back, JP. Excellent. All right. Ms. Mitchell, would you please read item number 3 on tonight's agenda?
Resolution number R1122, matter of recognizing Maureen Monty for her service and dedication to the Berkeley Public Safety Department and awarding her with the Berkeley Public Safety Civilian Citation Award 2022.
Is there a motion to approve R1122?
Motion to approve.
Support.
Motion to approve by Mayor Pro Tem Dean with support from Councilmember Price. And before we get rolling here, I have asked Mayor Pro Tem Dean to read the resolution, but hold on a second.
Holding.
I get to get down there first. You're good, LT. Don't worry. I can squeeze through.
We good? A resolution of the Council of the City of Berkley, Michigan, recognizing Maureen Monty for her service and dedication to the Berkley Public Safety Department and awarding her with the Berkley Public Safety Civilian Citation Award 2022. Whereas Maureen Monty is a Berkley resident, leadership team building consultant, and renowned author of Destination Unstoppable and Win Like a Girl. And whereas over the last 3 years, Maureen has graciously donated countless hours working with the Berkley Department of Public Safety by guiding our command staff through Strength Finder and other leadership development workshops to further help the management team understand how to harness each officer's talents. And whereas Maureen has also worked with our executive staff on truly defining public safety's missions, goals, and objectives for both the short and long-term visions of the department. And whereas public safety has also benefited from Ms. Monty volunteering as the department's personal photographer whenever needed. And whereas Maureen's reliability and dedication were even more evident through her support of the department's newly established K-9 program. And now, therefore, the City of Berkley resolves, Section 1, that the City Council does hereby recognize and honor Maureen Monty for the extraordinary service, effort, dedication, and selflessness that Ms. Maureen Monty has shown throughout her time in Berkley, and specifically the work she has donated to the Berkley Public Safety Department. Introduced and passed at a regular City Council meeting on Monday, June 6th, 2022, Daniel J. Turbrack, Mayor.
I have. First of all, thank you, Jordan, for signing this. We have a token of our appreciation. And I, yeah, it's kind of a heavy token. Don't break it. And I just want to say a couple things. Then I'll let Maureen. First of all, Maureen, thank you for letting us. Thank you. I know you're not big into taking credit, but you deserve credit, and we wanted to thank you. You've been really invaluable in helping us. I hear phrases. I hear you talking in my mind quite a bit throughout the day. Trust bank, strength, weaknesses. I hear it all the time. Sometimes they're just positive. Sometimes there's withdrawal in the trust banks, depending upon the situation. It's always good to know what you're good at, what you're bad at, and it really has helped me. I know it's helped several of us. Quite honestly, some people are a little bit skeptical at first, but I think yeah. Right out. We're a little skeptical at first, but we really appreciate everything you've done for us. What I really appreciate is your honesty, your non-public safety view. I think, I'm a firm believer in surrounding yourself with people that are honest, tell you what they're really thinking, and you do that, so thank you very much. And you also don't think like the rest of us, which is not a bad thing, so I appreciate that. And you don't tell us what we want to hear. That's huge. Thanks for volunteering at our events. I know hopefully you'll be there Saturday, and it's not like Maureen's not already busy, but she dedicates a ton of time for us. She traveled down to Ohio for the K-9, so took all those pictures. So we really thank you. Your help in the K-9 program, the help in just about everything we do, the help with our mission statement, the help with our value statement. You really kind of put us on a focus on doing what we need to do. So thank you very much. We really appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
My turn to talk?
All yours.
Well, thank you. First of all, thank you, everybody. And you guys, do you want to come in? No? You guys stay out there?
They don't want to come in.
All right. Well, it's a big deal to be receiving this award. I don't like the public recognition, right? I prefer to brag in private. But they've been wonderful to work with. I can't say enough good things. It's been a true honor. My father, you may or may not know, my father was the chief of police, and he died when I was 11. So these sorts of things that I do with the Berkeley Police, I do some work with the military. It's my way of honoring him and giving back. And my brother and Marty's here, and my sister-in-law Cheryl, and they're wearing their bear shirts. They were big contributors, so that was a real adventure, the whole bear thing. But I think the privilege I've had of being behind the scenes for the past 3 years is seeing the quality of the people that we have in public safety. I work with a lot of teams, and I'm talking the top of the heap, Fortune 50 companies, Olympic teams, and there's almost always a situation that you think, man, they're never going to get past this. And I have not found that here. And it's a testimony to the quality of the people that are hired, and Chief's leadership too, right? So we do build a team trust bank, ask for more deposits and withdrawals, right? We do help the team unify and overcome obstacles. I do speak frankly to the point where I know I have to be in the right environment otherwise people are offended, right? Because I'm a very straight talker. And I just have to say, two quick success stories. Working with the strengths, right? So when first of all, I knew Lieutenant Kobernick practically when he was born, right? And his mom and his 19 brothers and sisters. And when we first started, I'm like, Lieutenant Kobernick, where's your inner mule, right? And then we did the strength finder, and lo and behold, he's got an inner mule, right? There's an obstinate, stubborn streak in there. And frankly, though, I think you have the hardest job. You have the hardest job. You have the most people. You have the most difficult people. You got dispatch. And you do a great job. You're fully committed. And I've seen your results, and I've seen it day by day how committed he is to the success of this team. And then, of course, the Mont Blanc of success, Chief, right? When I first met Chief, he was kind of a wallflower, afraid to speak, off in the corner. And I'm like, when we did his strengths, I'm like, look at you, you have communication. Chief, use your voice.
I'm a wooer, too.
And he has woo. And look at him now. He never stops talking.
Yeah, thanks, Maureen.
I know. It's my greatest success ever, right? So, I can't
Can we
say
change that? Can we dial it back down? No, it's too
Well,
late.
we've worked on that, but no, I don't think we can change. No, it's been wonderful. I can't say enough good things about Berkeley Public Safety Dispatch, fire from top to bottom. And I appreciate the guys in the hall and guys and women here. You do a wonderful job. So thanks very much. I appreciate it. Thank you for this lovely award.
Thank you, Maureen. Thank you. Sure.
If I may, Maureen, you don't have to stand up for this, but I read a lot of nice words off of this commendation for you. But I have to say that we have a lot of great residents in the city of Berkeley. The fact that you've chosen to give so generously of your time and talent makes you stand out. And I've known you for a lot of years, probably not as long as you've known Jordan, but I'm just very grateful that you live in Berkeley and grateful that you have chosen to be so generous with your gifts to our city. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. You're welcome.
All right. Thank you, and congratulations again, Maureen. All right. We're going to continue for one more with our public safety theme. Ms. Mitchell, would you please read item number 4?
Motion number M4822.
Oh, we need to vote on that. Sorry, I guess we
Oh,
need
yeah.
to vote on that,
Yep.
even though we already did it. Okay, call the roll, please.
Hennan,
Yes.
Price,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Turbrack.
Yes, I mean, at that point, we already handed it out and said all the nice things. It's kind of moot, but
by the
yes.
way.
Okay. Then we voted down, and then what happened?
Right.
All right, now let's move on to number 4, please.
Motion number M4822, matter of approving the purchase of next generation 911 equipment and services from Motorola Solutions, Inc., FKA Emergency Callworks, Inc., MSI or ECW, 1900 International Park Drive, Suite 300, Birmingham, Alabama, 35243 at a cost of $54,946 from the dispatch equipment account 101-306-982-000.
Is there a motion to approve M4822?
So moved.
Support.
Motion made by Councilmember Hennan with support from Mayor Pro Tem Dean. Mr. Baumgarten?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You are joined by Chief of Police or Public Safety Director Matt Kane this evening to talk a little bit about this item. But as stated in the motion there, this takes your regular typical 911 systems and allows for multiple different types of input as communications have changed and evolved, so as the manner by which we report emergencies and talk to our wonderful public safety department and seek help and aid from this department. So we are fortunate to be in Oakland County because our county works hand in hand with our municipal departments and did so on this project as well.
You. Chief?
Mr. Mayor, as Mr. Baumgarten stated, Clemis provides the bulk of our technology and do a first-rate job. This is replacing our current 911 system with next generation 911. It goes from analog to digital. Right now, we have the ability to receive text messages on the 911 system. This will put in place for the future the ability to take video calls, take alerts from vehicles directly to our call center. Also technologies as they evolve. So right now it's a huge step up. It's mandated by Clemis, and it's really a necessary step anyway. So this puts the infrastructure in place, new computers, new printers, new hardware, new software, and it really is a necessary step for us to take, kind of a no-brainer, if you will.
Questions from council for the chief? Councilmember Price.
Yes, thank you, Chief. Just curious about the training. Is there going to be training provided to the dispatchers and officers as part of this, or is that something that we need to approve separately?
Training will be included. We don't anticipate much training at all. We use a Motorola product now. The interface will be pretty simple. Seems like Motorola is buying everybody, so good. That's good and bad. The good part is it works seamlessly with our other technology systems, and the training will be included, and we anticipate a really short training period.
Fantastic, thank you.
Sure.
Additional questions?
Yes. When do we expect this to be installed, up and running for us?
We're thinking by hopefully the end of the calendar year. Clemis has quite a few big projects going. The radio system's the biggest one, but there are different people working on different projects. So we're anticipating hopefully by the end of the calendar year, but certainly by the end of the fiscal year.
And will all those whiz-bang features be right away, or will they slowly
right
roll
now
out?
it'll improve our text to 911. That'll improve right off the bat because we're already doing that. Some of the other features will be added in as time goes on.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
You. Former Councilmember Blanchard? You okay with this?
Oh no.
I know you're here. I might as well.
No comments about my boss there, sir.
Wow, that's all we had to do from the beginning. If you had done that, it would have been a lot easier on you. Okay, well, thank you, Chief. Certainly, any way that allows us to have better communication access with especially folks in need is something we certainly need to do and will continue to do. So I appreciate you being here tonight and bringing this forward. Ms. Mitchell, I will actually call for a roll on this. Would you please call the roll on M4822?
Price,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Hennan,
Yes.
Turbrack.
Yes. Now move on to item number 5, please, Ms. Mitchell.
Motion number M4922, matter of approving the purchase of a 2023 Prodigy HHX hydro excavation unit at a total cost not to exceed $460,000 from Jack Doe and E Companies.
Is there a motion to approve M4922?
So moved.
Support.
Motion made by Councilmember Price with support from Councilmember Hennan. Mr. Baumgarten.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a budget item that we've been preparing to purchase. It's not just 911 systems that are getting smarter. The way that we dig holes has actually gotten smarter as well. And so this is a piece of equipment that allows us to make small, compact holes in the ground instead of having to bring out a large machine and dig, in a giant space here. So this is likewise a step forward in technology for us. And you have DPW Director Young here, which I love saying out loud.
Mr. Director.
Evening. It's still weird when you say that.
This is actually something we've thought about for quite a number of years now. Typically, we've used our combination vacuum sewer cleaning machine to do this kind of work, but with lead services coming out, and we've got many places we have to verify these lead services, we thought it was time to move forward with a dedicated machine to do this. It's coming to you a little earlier than expected. The dealer said, hey, I've got a chassis that someone dropped out on, and it's available for this year. So it's time to jump. I mean, the plan is hopefully it'll be on the ground in March and done, but I can't guarantee anything, and the dealer can't guarantee anything with the way things are going right now. We've waited for another model year. The wait's even longer. We're seeing a year and a half, 2 years on some of these chassis.
Okay. Questions for our director, Mr. Sean Young? Councilmember Hennon?
Yeah, the same sort of question. Do we have, will there be any necessary training? Will that be included?
Yep, training is included. It runs very similar to our current truck that we have. It's different function, but kind of the same, so they operate very similar to each other. But training is included with the purchase.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Councilmember Price?
Yes, is there a warranty included on this?
Yep, there's 1 year bumper to bumper, and then each module has different warranties. There's extended warranties on the engine, transmission. So depending on the part of the vehicle, the warranty length is dictated by engine, transmission. Is it the pump module? Is it the tank? They're all different lengths, different times, but there is at least a 1 year bumper to bumper on everything.
Thank you.
Good, okay. Got a thumbs up. I mean, you didn't have to deal with the firing squad from former Councilmember Blanchard. I like how you waited till he was gone.
Right.
But he's happy with the specs, so if Jack is happy with the specs, then I'm happy.
I already went through it with them.
All right, seeing no additional questions or comments, and knowing that the specs are in fact what we're looking for, Ms. Mitchell, would you please call the roll on M4922?
Dean,
Yes.
Hennon,
Yes.
Price,
Yes.
Turbrack.
Yes. Ms. Mitchell, would you please read item number 6 on tonight's agenda?
Motion number M5022, matter of approving a 5-year agreement with PSLZ LLC as submitted and signed by managing partner Raina Emmons in a proposal dated May 12, 2022 to provide professional auditing services for the city of Berkeley as the lowest qualified and recommended bidder in the amount of $30,000 in fiscal year 2022-2023, and the following 4 years as follows: $31,000 in year 2, $32,000 in year 3, $32,000 in year 4, and $33,000 in year 5. Also for PSLZ LLC to provide services to file a single audit if necessary for $5,000 each in year 1 and 2, and $6,000 each year in years 3 through 5.
Is there a motion to approve M5022?
So moved.
Support.
Motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Dean with support from Councilmember Price. Mr. Baumgarten?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In your packet, you'll find a detailed memo from our finance director, Mr. Pollack, who is with us this evening. But for those watching at home, this is a professional service that we do annually. The annual budget or the annual audit is a massive undertaking in which we have a third-party entity that comes in and reviews the matter by which the city spent money, approved contracts, made purchases, all of the above, to make sure that we were consistent with the GASB rules, or also GAAP, the generally accepted accounting principles. This is a professional service, as council knows. We've made a habit of bidding out those services on occasion. We've done so with our city attorney's services. We've done so with the engineering services. And so the auditing services were the next logical portion of that. We were happily with Plant Moran for 16 years. Plant was a bidder on this. You'll see in your memo or the packet as well. There's an attached set of results for this. After reviewing all of them, we've found that the current firm, I'm trying to very hard to break my habit of saying this, but PSLZ, PLSZ, was our lowest bidder, extremely qualified bidder. Actually worked with Mr. Pollock in a previous community, and as we went through and talked to those that they'd taken on in the last 5 years, very consistently heard nothing but absolutely positive information. So excited to embark on a new era of auditing services, and our new managing partner, should council approve this bid, is here this evening to answer questions as well.
All right, thank you. Mr. Pollock?
Yes, we received 8 proposals, all very reputable firms, all very good firms, most of them locally, not too far from us. Let me first state we appreciate everything Plant Moran did for this city. They served for 16 years, as Matt mentioned. Keith, of course, wanted to know, was there something we did wrong? But I informed him, other than frustration with personnel changeover, which I think everybody's dealing with, we had no issues with Plant Moran. We enjoyed dealing with them. I will state that Raina had nothing but great things to say about Plant Moran, and said if you weren't switching, I would recommend you stay with them. But the other 8 firms that bid, I did respond to all of them. They appreciated our consideration. But I can say it is indeed my privilege and honor and pleasure to introduce Raina Emmons. I did work with her in Clawson my entire 18 years there. Their firm was tremendous, very good with anything we needed. It was an absolute pleasure, and I was thrilled. She actually called and asked if I would like their firm to bid, and I said absolutely, I hope you do. So they were the lowest bid as well, and again, that might have got some attention because they were significantly lower than the other bids, but that's how bad she wanted to work for Berkley. She wanted to make sure that her firm was the lowest bid, and again, it is my honor. I'll introduce Raina, and if you have any questions for her, feel free to ask. But again, it is my complete pleasure to introduce Raina, and hopefully, if council approves, to welcome them as our professional auditing firm.
All right.
Good evening. My name is Raina Emmons. I'm a partner with PSLZ. I don't have a formal presentation for you this evening. I just wanted to introduce myself, give you a couple minutes of our firm. PSLZ has been around for over 61 years. We started out, it was specializing in municipal auditing, and we do everything, estates, taxes, and everything else a CPA firm does. We are full service. But I personally am an audit partner that specializes in governmental municipal auditing. I spend 24/7. I don't do tax work necessarily. I am strictly municipal auditing. It used to be something that CPAs could do half the time. They could do tax work and half the time they could do governmental auditing. It's not that way anymore. It's a very specialized, the rules have been continually changing, and you have to stay on top of things. And I just want to reassure you, this is not something that we dabble in. We are fully immersed. You can see from our client list, we do approximately 40 communities, most right here. We don't go too far out of, we're pretty much southeastern Michigan, a lot in Oakland County, Washtenaw County, some western Wayne. And so I also sit on the Michigan Department of Treasury that requires your annual audit. I'm on their advisory committee. So when things are changing here in the state or in the Governmental Accounting Standards Board level, they call, ask, we talk about things and how that'll apply to the local units. And with most of my communities being the size of the city of Berkley, I feel that I'm a voice for the city to the state on things that, could be onerous or, very labor demanding on your staff. I convey that to them and tell them, listen, that's not going to fly. I feel that's an added service. But also I'm AICPA Government Audit Quality Center, and I also attend the National AICPA Governmental Auditing Training and Conference every year. So again, not something we're not dabbling, we are fully immersed. And I've had the pleasure of working with Mr. Pollock and also some of your other staff. Everyone is a pleasure here. Mr. Baumgarten has an excellent reputation here in Oakland County, and it would be my pleasure to work with all of them. But as the independent auditor, I work for mayor and council. Specifically, I work for you. So it would be my job to communicate to you anything you need to know. as far as the financial statements and the books, that would be, you would hear directly from me. We don't have a lot of staff changeover. I would be coming out with any staff every day. And most of my clients like that because we're not usually talking about the historical last year. It's usually all the things that are happening right now currently that you're trying to deal with from the state, any of the new things that are happening. It might be new distributions of money, new grants. So we talk about things like that. I'm on site. And also I encourage, and you know, Mr. Pollock knows this, but I encourage my clients to call me all year long. I do not charge for phone calls, emails, anything like that. I encourage them. I like to be in communication. I don't want to be the once a year fly into Berkeley and leave, you know, after a couple of weeks. I am a resource to you all year long.
Thank you, Ms. Emmons, for being with us this evening. Questions from council?
I think I'll just make a comment. Thank you very much for that introduction and telling us about all of your wealth, your perspective, and the services that you offer. I also want to thank Mr. Pollock and the city for doing due diligence and going out for an RFP. I'm very glad that we went through this process and found such a qualified bidder, so thank you.
Additional questions? No. Well, I will tell you, Ms. Emmons, that I was a little concerned when I initially saw the bids. And again, you know, I've been working with Plant Moran for, I think, all 16 years that they were here since I was elected to council. And I was a little surprised, the disparity in the bids, but I have an incredible amount of respect for Mr. Pollock, and he had nothing but great things to say about you and the firm, and that's good enough for me. So I certainly look forward to working with you, knowing that maybe early on, not that it's going to be clunky, but it will be different for us, Mr. Pollock maybe with his experience, but looking forward to that and hoping that you have some nifty tips and tricks to get around all these Gatsby things that get thrown at us all the time. And if you can do that, I might even pay you more. How about that?
Let's just say I do take a practical approach with things like that. Like I said, I don't like things to be onerous or too, you know, of course, I will keep you in compliance, and you know, we don't live outside. We don't live in this gray area. We stay in the black and white. But it is, I do take a practical approach because my clients are about the size of the city of Berkeley. And I mean, I go up to populations of about 60,000, but most of them are right here. This is my, you know, my specialty, and you know, some clients need a little more attention than others. They don't have, you know, tremendous, you know, huge staffs and things like that. But I know your staff actually does a very good job of keeping on top of, you know, being abreast of the ongoing communications and things from the state and the federal government. So they're pretty knowledgeable and on the front line of things. But I would also actually it's almost a detriment coming in where we did you know, price wise. But believe me, I had a conversation with Mr. Pollock before I submitted my proposal, and he wouldn't share how much Plant Moran was. I mean, he didn't tell any of the firms. He, you know, he just wanted to keep it. So I had to sharpen my pencil, you know, knowing who I would be working with here, and you know, being very excited about that opportunity. I sharpened my pencil, and I brought you in right about where other cities I do audits for. So I'm very comfortable with that, and I understand your concern.
Well, I am comfortable, and I certainly prefer black and white when it comes to audits. I don't like to live in shades of gray when it comes to managing the finances of the city of Berkeley. So I certainly appreciate that approach, and we've, you know, had a solid track record in the audits we've received in the past, and we're going to continue to make the decisions that we need to make to continue to make Berkeley the best place that it can be and provide the quality of services that our residents provide. And as I mentioned, I look forward to getting to know you a little bit better and engaging in this process over the next year.
Likewise. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Seeing no additional questions or comments, Ms. Mitchell, would you please call the roll on M5022?
Dean,
Yes.
Hennon,
Yes.
Price,
Yes.
Turbrack.
Yes. Ms. Mitchell, would you please read item number 7 on tonight's agenda?
Motion number M5122, matter of approving a Downtown Development Authority DDA event, Berkley Pride Block Party on Robina north of 12 Mile Road on Sunday, June 26, 2022, from noon to 4 p.m. Approval is conditional upon the submission of required items and documents prior to the event date.
Is there a motion to approve M5122?
So moved.
Support?
Motion approved by Councilmember Price with support from Mayor Pro Tem Dean. Mr. Baumgarten?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. After the success of the Frozen February and the musical May, would you call it, block parties, the DDA's event marketing and events committee, and then some of their planning event committees as well, all set their sights on commemorating Pride Month here in Berkeley with the block party in June. And Mr. McGinnis filled out the appropriate information here. It's been submitted to each of the departments who would have some oversight over a portion of this. As you note in the packet, each one have signed off. Also in your packet is a general layout of the proposed configuration, as well as a rundown of the events and some of the marketing materials for it. So we have reason to believe, based on the success of the first 2 events, that this one will go off without a hitch as well. And look forward to seeing an entire year of block parties brought to the downtown by the DDA.
Thank you. Mr. McGinnis, anything you'd like to add? I was surprised you hadn't come up to the
Right.
microphone already. I was nervous.
Good evening, Mike McGinnis with the Berkeley Downtown Development Authority. The intent of all of our functions in downtown Berkeley is to help support, stimulate, and draw more visitors to our downtown. So we're very grateful that many of our promotional events have been able to have that positive multiplier effect for downtown retailers, dining establishments, places just to explore, enjoy, and recreate. And this was intentionally done on a day of the week when we don't have as much activity to try and draw more foot traffic. We did that for the May 1st block party on a Sunday, very successful at the New Flipside Records. And we have had a few different of these offerings at Robina north of 12 Mile, activating that space. All 4 of the businesses that would be directly impacted have signed their sign-off. They're okay, they're cool with the closure temporarily of Robina. And it's very this year, the first specific theme for Berkeley Pride Block Party. It's a very frugal and lean affair. We're not expending a great deal of resources, but even still we've been able to enlist sponsorships from other organizations and individuals to help to defray those expenses to ensure that everyone has a fun time, a safe time, and maximize the offering. This will be our 5th block party, and there are 2 more after this for the year to come. We've submitted already for the end of October, part of the Berkeley season, so that'll come before you in the future. And then we're capitalizing on the road already being closed for the Holiday Lights Parade, so that way a block party will happen we won't have to come to you for a specific closure, if you will. So that's what we have going. I'm really grateful to the community members and the business owners they're the drivers of this, that really were excited and wanted to see this particular offering in the block party series. A few of those community members are here, so I just want to say thank you to the volunteers. It's a community grassroots-led effort, and I thank them for that. And I'm available to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mr. McGinnis?
I have to comment, Your Honor, because this was a
You
short.
gotta wait till you get to the microphone, Jack. Come on.
I'm not used to speaking in public, you know that. Because this was a short notice thing, I took the liberty of going ahead and as the emergency manager and developing the events plan so that we have it ready. We didn't want to be behind the power curve on this. What we did is provide a more detailed layout of what's going to happen.
Oh,
there.
thank you.
Mike, I have a copy for you. This is the block
This is Jack's.
plan that I have coordinated both with Matt Kane and with Sean Young. So I think we've incorporated all of their comments in, all of my comments that I had for security. The big difference this year with the Robina things is we always stopped at the alley in the past. At this point, we're moving past the alley, short of the driveway at 3514 Robina, and blocking that off. So and because of the sensitivity of the thing, we're going to use concrete blocks, barriers on all except the north side of that, and there we're going to use a dump truck that can be moved in case we need to get emergency equipment in. But this is going to cause us some restrictions as far as timing of getting things in there. Food trucks can't be late, because if they're late, they're not going to get in because we'll have it sealed off. So we've got to get some timing, things rolling there, and make sure everything's done. And it's all in this plan, and we'll be checking and updating, and there may be some changes, but we're pretty close on this, I think. So.
Well, thank you, Jack, for
We're
putting
getting ready
that
on the
plan.
emergency management side.
Thank you for putting that plan together. I have complete confidence that you have everything taken care of to keep our residents safe, and in the event that we need, obviously, to get emergency vehicles in there, we will be able to do that. So thank you for putting that together for this event. Any questions for members of council before we go to residents? Okay, go ahead.
I do have a question just regarding the city sponsoring this event versus it being a block party that is sponsored by any group of special interest in the city. I'm interested in knowing where the line will be drawn with special interest groups and the promotion of their activities in the future if the city goes ahead and is promoting this event.
Well, thank you, Talon. I will just tell you that these are on a case-by-case basis. I don't think there is a hard line that's drawn right now. Before events such as this, we will certainly see what the will of council is in just a couple of moments. But I think they will depend on each thing that comes before us.
Good evening. I'm back. My name is Jessica Worrell, and I am here tonight to have my thoughts on the Pride-themed block party hosted by the DDA. As some of you know, my wife and I are the founders of the Berkley Cares Food Pantry. And as a pantry, we give back to our community in a multitude of ways, offering food assistance, of course, resource information, and volunteer opportunities for a number of individuals and organizations. By the end of the month, we will have given out approximately 1,000 pantry boxes.
Wow.
Yeah.
For
Thank you. I personally work for the school district, and I volunteer my time to manage the Little Slugger softball team, Go Wings, for the Berkley Moms Club. I am also a board member. My wife and I have lived here 16 plus years, and we are deeply woven into the fabric of this community. We've met thousands of residents for whom we call friends, and I don't take a walk in the city without coming into contact with somebody, usually many people, that we know and care about. Since moving here, we have found unanimous support and inclusion from our community for my family and where other LGBTQ residents are concerned. And as the years have progressed, that inclusion has grown. It's almost visible. And I would really like to see that unanimous support represented from all of you here today. You are the people that I voted for, each and every one of you. And I would like not to be let down. Pride events are not some part of a political, religious, or Christo-fascist agenda. They are lives. They're not, rights that you get and somebody else doesn't get. They're just human rights, and it shouldn't be voted on. We shouldn't need to hear religious beliefs or views on our lives, as we don't give those on anybody else's lives. This isn't a big deal. It's just showing support for a small faction of this community, of which there are other small factions in this community, other groups, and we would show the same support for those groups in any other way. I can't believe I have to sit here and make these statements at all. Not in this city, not in the city that I've grown to know as a progressive city. I would like to state that I sit here and I watch you guys pass yay votes for $100,000 bills and bids without what looks like batting an eye, but when it comes to a few flags and the show of support, you know, it looks like a moral dilemma. And it's not. it's not. A block party showing support for a small group of people is morally right. I want to refer to comments made previously. I won't name names, but residents who work and live within this city don't always share the same religious beliefs as other people. And it is awfully audacious to stand up here and pass your judgment down upon the rest of us as if it was your right to do so. For those who would oppose letting the city become a more inclusive place to live, you are actively damaging the reputation of the city and its progressiveness, and I would speculate that it would progress and move on without you if you got in the way. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Jess. And just to clarify, Tal, I guess I probably should have spoken on behalf of anybody else. Those were my opinions. That's why we vote on these things. So when they come forward, we'll decide on each based on their merits. Sorry, come on up.
Hello. I feel like I'm a college professor. I lecture in front of people all the time, and this is like way more intense. Okay. Thank you, Mayor Turbrick and council members, for the opportunity to share my perspective today. My name is Julie Lambert. I live on Columbia in Berkeley, and I'm the parent of a third grader. Why am I crying? Don't know. And a sixth grader at Anderson. My third grade daughter is a trans female. I feel fortunate that when my daughter was in second grade, she felt comfortable and confident enough to share with our family that she is indeed a girl. She very clearly and very strongly expressed when it was announced that they would be returning to the classroom for the first time since COVID began, that they would be returning in 2021, that she wanted to know when she could go to school in girl clothes, use her female pronouns at school, and use the girls' bathroom. As a parent, I don't believe there can be a more fearful precipice to be perched upon. Of course, my daughter had no fear because she always had known who she was. To her, it seemed as simple as a clerical correction. We were in full support of her social transition, but fully prepared for there to be pushback and bullying. Nevertheless, we surged forward. Frankly, we could not have been more grateful for the grace and resolve with which Rogers teachers and staff supported and managed her transition in school. Within her classroom, the school held a brief meeting with a social worker explaining the change with care. They read a book that gave a very simple account of a character who recognized that they were assigned the wrong gender and what their community did to help. I can't see. The school allowed our family to share a heartfelt letter with the community. I remember the fear I had when I pressed send after writing that letter. I dreaded that in the least, most parents would ignore it and not provide their child with context for the change. In the worst, I was afraid that parents would ridicule us or encourage hatred or bullying toward my daughter. I also felt that as a parent, it was my role to be her support and calm and extend grace toward our community. We were overwhelmed with the number of families who reached out and shared how amazing this was, and they supported our daughter and our family. Our school buildings are where our children spend the majority of our lives. They're an extension of our community and our values. We have a responsibility to not only provide our children with skills in math and reading, science, etc., but the skills to become adults who function with kindness, humility, and grace within the world. My child recognized that our family and our school were a place where she could be herself without fear. If you are not aware, suicide and depression rates among trans and all LGBTQ children are staggeringly high. They are often unsupported by their communities and families. Even worse, they are abused, bullied, and cast aside by those closest to them. The Berkley Pride Block Party may seem like a small or even unnecessary event, given all the Pride events happening in the communities around us. However, this event is something my daughter is looking forward to, and I can imagine all the other LGBTQ kids in our community are as well. No matter where they are in their journey, it is events like this that give them courage and strength to forge ahead or even feel a little more comfortable in their own skin. Additionally, it is incredibly important for all of us to understand that events that celebrate and lift any marginalized community are important. To move toward change, they don't only need to stand up for themselves, they need their non-marginalized neighbors to stand with them. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I hope that you all will lend your full support to the Berkley Pride Block Party.
Thank you, Julie.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Chris. I am a lifelong resident of the city of Berkeley. I attended school from Angel to Anderson to Berkeley High School. I always liked figuring out that Mayor Turbrack was one of my educators at one point. And I think that's also, yeah. And I think that's also a good place to start. When I went to Berkeley High School, we had a teacher, Mrs. Price, who, sorry, I'm a little emotional about this as well. She was a really, really fantastic person. She unfortunately passed away, but she really provided a great space for other people who, I witnessed with my own eyes being bullied because of how they identify as a person, and in our schools. And I know, and I see, and I have friends and family that identify in the LGBTQ plus community. I know how important it is that space is given for visibility and inclusivity. I think that it's something that we as a society have to recognize and continue to encourage and be accepting of and being welcoming of. And something as small as a block party like this does go a long way for that small community. And I spoke with Mike earlier today about it, because we have a number of Pride events throughout the region, and I wanted to know what's the driving force behind this, and he really detailed out the support for providing some space for resources. For instance, the Ruth Ellis Center, which I have worked alongside. They are an incredible support group that I really, really encourage folks engage with and learn about, because in the region in general, they're just a fantastic, incredible resource, and they're literally saving people's lives on a regular basis. So having that out and visible for the community and having people have access to that is really, really valuable. And just in general, being able to celebrate and for anyone that wants to celebrate, and giving that space. So I just wanted to voice my support for this. I really, really think it would go a long way, and I think it's really important. So,
thank you, Chris. Any additional comments? Comments from members of council? Any additional? Councilmember Hennon?
Yes, I'll be voting no. It's my deeply held religious conviction that homosexuality is wrong. And to be clear, this is not some sort of homophobia. For example, I feel equally about all kinds of sin. And I support the city's annual Pride resolution that supports respect and equal treatment for members of the LGBTQIA+ community. There are many things that come before council that I personally find objectionable, and I can accept those when the source is private, but I must draw the line at a city-run event that requires my personal endorsement.
Thank you. Any additional comments from members of council before vote? All right.
Oh, I'd
Oh,
like to say
okay.
something, please. Yes. I'm just so grateful for all the residents who came and put the stories of themselves and their families in front of us tonight. I know that whenever a community, whether it's a school welcoming a gender sexuality alliance or a city saying yes to a pride block party, when we do that and we step up and say, yes, you for you are welcome and supported here. People who have been marginalized, who have been abused, who have been shut out of society, and we say, you are welcome to be who you are here. Not only does that save lives for those individuals, but it makes our entire school, our entire community safer and stronger because we all feel safe to be who we are. And I just don't understand how it's an option to vote anywhere, any other way than accepting people, loving them for who they are, and saying that loudly and proudly as a city, as school communities, as families. I know that the majority of Berkeley residents by far support that, and I will be lending my vote to represent those voices this evening. Thank you.
Okay.
Pro Tem?
Thank you, Your Honor. I just didn't want to be the only one not speaking. So I want to commend those who stood up, came to this microphone, and spoke so clearly and emotionally, because this is an emotional issue. This is your family. This is your life. And that's hard. That's hard to do that, to stand up and to share private, personal things. So thank you for doing that. Thank you for adding to the understanding. I'm not a particularly religious person. I call myself a marginal Catholic. I was born and raised a Catholic, and I periodically go to church. I do pray. I have a sense of spirituality. And I guess I certainly didn't come in tonight thinking I was going to share any of that, but here I go. I do believe in a God who is loving and kind and accepting and understanding. And I think we have a responsibility as human beings, all belief systems aside, to be kind and to be accepting and to be compassionate and to not be threatened when somebody is different than you. Can't we all just be? I guess is my question. So I will also indulge in an act of shameless self-promotion. I own the yarn store on Robina. I'm normally not open on Sundays. We will be open on Sunday, June 26th, teaching finger knitting to anyone who wants to learn. Kids, adults, whomever. I'm probably gonna have a snack because, let's face it, I'm a mom, I'm a grandma now, so there will be some kind of snack. And I'm grateful for the DDA bringing business to my front door, essentially. And that's really the job of the DDA, is to cycle back the tax capture into the downtown, which on its very basis level is what you're doing with block parties, ribbon cut, any attention that you're bringing to the downtown. So thank you for that. And thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Certainly, you took it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to stay away from the whole church and state thing a little bit more here than maybe some others. It's incumbent on us as leaders to lead. And we were elected to lead. And that doesn't mean that we're always going to agree on everything, as you've seen if you've watched a number of these meetings. But just because something has been done away in the past, or just because other municipalities or cities don't want to, get involved in what can potentially, in some cases, become blurred lines, I'm willing to fight that. I don't operate based on fear or based on the way that things were done. I operate based on doing what I believe is in the best interest for our residents, for our community, and that means leading, and that means being inclusive, in my personal opinion, and welcoming and celebrating every single person that lives in this city or that comes to visit this city. And that is what's driving my decision tonight. And to the question that was asked earlier, where's the line? I don't know. Because every time we're going to get something, we're going to have to make decisions, personal decisions, and we're going to have to cast votes. And yes, we are missing a few folks today, and that's unfortunate. And you know, some of them reached out to let me know that they wanted to express their support. But we have to make decisions on the things that are before us. And when I make decisions on things like this, I leave anything else that may be in the past or in the background or even on the whole church and state issue off to the side. Because this is about what I think is for our community, what's best for our community, and for folks that I come into contact with and wanting to be an incredibly inviting community for everybody that comes through here. So, needless to say, I will certainly be supporting this evening. Ms. Mitchell, with that, will you please call the roll?
Dean,
Yes.
Hennon,
No.
Price,
Yes.
Turbrack.
Yes. M5122 has passed. Oh, sure, Mike, go ahead. You wait until the end.
Now that you voted for it, I want to invite the Berkley community to the Berkley Pride Block Party, because it will happen. Thank you for sharing the public's right-of-way, sharing the public streets as you have before, so that way we can bring the community together in our downtown, the rightful gathering place for the people of Berkley. I was remiss in mentioning that there's a new business on Robina, Hard Luck Barbershop, and we're intentionally doing their grand opening there as well, because a few hundred of their closest new customers and friends will be right there with us. So I just wanted to say thank you, but most importantly to put the logistics out there. We're talking about Sunday, June 26th, a free event open to all. And those resource groups and community organizations, we are not charging them. So it's a coming together, including of Berkeley High School's Gay Straight Alliance, who will be there as well, doing a fundraiser for their efforts as well. So if you have any interest, you can visit downtownberkeley.com, contact me as the executive director if you have other organizations or groups that want to be a part of the June 26th action. Thank you for hearing us out. Thank you for the indulgence.
Yeah, thank you for just ignoring all protocol and order. And just jumping out there.
I wasn't going to tout it if you were going to vote no.
I'll allow that, Mike. I'll allow that. All right. Ms. Mitchell, would you please read the next item on tonight's agenda, item number 8?
Motion number M5222, matter of amending the City of Berkeley's fee schedule for the public library effective July 1st, 2022 to eliminate overdue charges for children's books, adult and teen books, DVDs and videos, and non-print materials, and increase collection agency referral fee to $12.
Is there a motion to approve M5222?
So moved.
Support.
Motion made by Councilmember Hennon, support from Councilmember Price. Mr. Baumgarten.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This recommendation comes to you by way of our library director, who is representing it this evening, as well as the library board itself. Mr. Church, our library director, put a very robust explanation as to why this recommendation is coming for council, along giving context, as well as some background on the recommendation from the library committee. So essentially they're asking, as the motion said, to continue the practice that we started under COVID, at that point temporarily, but to make permanent the no longer collecting overdue fees.
Mr. Director.
All right, thank you. Happy to be here tonight. So many public libraries are going fine-free. That's been the trend for many years, and we've been discussing it here. So this is several years in progress and discussion. The library board has been talking about it, as it comes up in media and as it gets reported. It also gave us an opportunity to step back and see how it works for other libraries. We didn't want to just jump right into the popular library trend, but time has shown that this is a positive change for libraries. The amount of revenue that we bring in each month due to overdue fees has been declining. So we have automatic renewals in place now. So you check something out, It just automatically renews it. You don't have to log in, you don't have to call us. So that took away a lot of the overdue fees right there. We have email reminders for folks. So there's lots of ways to remind you to get your things back in on time. COVID was a really good time for us to test out the fine-free experience for the public, and it was very well received. It really changes the conversation, the relationship with the patrons, to not be bickering about 20 cents in overdue fees, and really just take away the stigma of having an overdue item or lost item at home. I heard from many people that thought, I've got this overdue book, but I'm so embarrassed that it's super long overdue, I don't want to bring it in. And now we can just shift our focus and say, just get it returned, we'll take care of it, and take it from there. So we have made changes recently. We're not charging video rentals. We're not charging a lost card replacement fee. We've made a lot of positive changes to eliminate barriers to access and make the library more accessible to everyone.
Well, thank you, Director Church, for presenting this to us this evening. As you know, my wife is also a librarian.
That's right.
And she took my library card away. I refuse to go in there and tell you that it was that overdue. No, that wasn't the case. But I appreciate this, and it does seem to be the way things are going. Obviously, you took time to study this and realizing that it probably makes more sense this way. So we appreciate, and I certainly appreciate, again, I try to speak for everybody up here all the time. I appreciate the thought process that went into what you are trying to create with our library to, again, continue to make it a great place for people who want to stop in, visit, and easier access to the materials that you have. So
Great.
thank you.
Thank you.
Additional questions or comments for our director?
Yes.
Councilmember Price?
As the liaison to the library board, I also just wanted to reiterate too that this recommendation was also, or this possibility was also presented to the library board, and they unanimously voted to support this recommendation after long discussions and the research being shared with them as well. And I'm just grateful very much, Director Church, that you're always looking for ways to improve your services, to make them accessible to more people, to make everybody feel very welcome and supported, and keep those positive customer service experiences there for everybody who enters the library. So thank you for using that as a driving reason to make this change.
Yes, for sure. Thank you.
Thank you. And Ms. Mitchell, I just want to make sure, so in the packet, it's labeled as M5522. On the agenda, it's M5222. I just want to make sure that we do not have an issue moving forward with this.
No, it should be M5222.
So when I sign that, we'll make sure it's
Yeah.
52 at the top instead of 55. Okay, good. I don't want any
Thank you.
technicalities that people start to get fined again.
Be back
and
next
then it
month.
comes on me. Yeah, I know. It will be, okay, just a quick point of order. Thank you.
Sure.
Any additional questions or comments? All right, seeing none. Thank you, Mr. Church.
Thank you.
Ms. Mitchell, would you please call the roll on M5222?
Hennan,
Yes.
Price,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Turbrack.
Yes. Ms. Mitchell, would you please read item number 9 on tonight's agenda?
Resolution number R1222, matter of considering a resolution to temporarily suspend enforcement of residential grading and drainage standards in City Code Chapter 26, Article 12, in regard to small projects, accessory structures, and improvements to existing residential buildings and structures.
Is there a motion to approve R1222?
So moved.
Support.
Motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Dean with support from Councilmember Hennan. Mr. Baumgarten?
Thanks, Mayor. This continues a years-long conversation about grading standards in our community and how to address, reconcile poor soil percolation with increasing rain patterns. And more often, we find that the attempts we've made to try to mandate by ordinance that these things are corrected at each and every property. We find that we've inadvertently put some undue burden on some of our smaller projects, and some of our residents have found that just trying to do small additions or accessory structures, or even just some work around their yard, has yielded a significant burden as far as having to do grading standards and finding and satisfying the standards of this ordinance. One thing that we know it does well is helping people address site standards and grading on new construction. That part we're doing very well. The ordinance is performing as intended, but we're respectfully requesting a short break in applying these standards to small projects so that my team, our staff, can bring back to you a standard that works better for each and every person in this community. And so I know we've been through a couple of different rewrites of this ordinance. This would be yet another, but an ordinance should be an evolving standard, and it should take into account the situation we find ourselves in now, and rightfully so, not be beholden to whatever we saw when we first wrote it, even if it was just a couple of short years ago. So we would like the opportunity to continue to improve our standards here, continue to equitably address stormwater issues in our community, and properly reconcile those with the small projects versus large projects in the community.
Thank you. Questions from council members? Councilmember Hennon, or comments, I should say.
Just a comment. I wanted to say my appreciation for us taking a look at this as we try and find that right balance between protecting people but not making it so onerous that we halt substantial amounts of development in the city and improvement in the cities. So I appreciate this coming forward, and looking forward to what tweaks we may be making to further improve this ordinance.
Thank you. Additional questions or comments? No, I mean, it's relatively straightforward, again, to try to make things at least more efficient for the smaller projects that we see in our community, because we do see a lot of them. And that's a great thing, and trying to make it a little bit more palatable for those things to happen. Seeing no additional questions or comments, Ms. Mitchell, would you please call the roll on R1222?
Hennon,
Yes.
Price,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Turbrack.
Yes. We are now at communications, and I'm just going to start with Councilmember Price and work around because it's easier with only a few of us.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor Turbrack. I do have a few committee updates this evening. The Beautification Advisory Committee is encouraging all residents to participate in a community-wide Edge Your Sidewalk campaign. This is the quote from the campaign. They say, "Let's beautify our neighborhoods. Proper edging uncovers the entire surface area of your sidewalk, giving your property better overall dimensions, a cleaner look, and it is safer for pedestrians by eliminating trip hazards." If you need help, if you would like your sidewalk to be edged, but you don't own an edger and you need some help getting that done, or if you have an edger and are happy to help out a neighbor, either direction, you can email the Berkley BAC at berkleybac@gmail.com, and they can help facilitate some of those connections between neighbors who are happy to help and neighbors who might need a little bit of help. If you want to participate in this campaign, and by the way, they encourage you to share before and after pictures, which I hear are very satisfying. I don't know. I'm embarrassed to say I've never edged my yard before, but this June I will be doing it, participating as well. Share those before and after pictures, and the deadline for us to get those sidewalk edged is June 23rd to participate in the campaign. That is also the start of the citywide garage sale. So when people are coming into our neighborhood to shop the garage sales, they can enjoy our well-edged sidewalks. Did I express I'm trying really hard to go for enthusiasm here.
You're there.
All right.
I think it's very exciting.
I'm trying. The Beautification Advisory Committee does that enthusiasm much more genuinely than me. I wish that I could properly channel it. They've got it. Okay. Berkeley Public Library has a fantastic summer reading program planned with activities and challenges for participants of all ages. Highlights include story times in the park, craft activities, a tween book club, a teen art scavenger hunt, and a reading challenge for adults. You can find more details on these and other events on our library's website or by giving the library a call. And I just want to take a minute again to thank everyone who came out and sent us emails in support of the Pride Proclamation that we unanimously made last meeting and the block party that did get approved today. I know that Berkley is a welcoming and inclusive community, and my family is very grateful and proud to be a proud of it. Thank you.
Thank you. I will add on the edging, if you all lived across from your parents, your father, like I do. If I do not, I will be endlessly ridiculed. So should all try doing that. Mayor Pro Tem Dean.
Thank you, Your Honor. I just have a quick Parks and Rec update. Kicking off our Movie in the Park series this season is Encanto on Thursday, June 16th at 7 p.m. at Community Park. And Community Park is right behind the Community Center. The first concert in the park is Wednesday, June 22nd at 7 p.m. Listen to the sounds of the Royal Oak Concert Band and the Woodward Avenue Jazz Orchestra. This concert will also be at Community Park. Please check the website for summer programs, summer camp registration, and summer specialty camps. And I have a quote from Director McGarleton. "We cannot wait to see you in our parks over the next few busy months. There's a little bit of something for everyone this summer to come out and enjoy," end quote. And I could not agree with her more. And finally, my husband and I entertained out-of-town guests over the weekend, people that formerly lived in the area, actually in Huntington Woods. They moved to Santa Fe. They came over on Sunday, and the first thing they said was they couldn't believe how amazing Berkley looked. The Welcome to Berkley signs, all the signage, the directional signage, the murals, and the flags. The flags everywhere. So all the hard work is being noticed, and it was really great to hear that from people that, it's a different perspective when you were here and then you're gone and you come back. So thanks so much to the Chamber and the DDA for all their hard work and to continue to uplift. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for providing a quote this evening.
Yeah, I knew someone had to do it.
Councilmember Baker. Councilmember Hennon.
Yes, the tree board met. They'll be, their next meeting will be in September, and during this hiatus, there'll be a committee to work on one of the tree grants we're looking at for a tree canopy study. But we also found that there's perhaps already a free source of that data. And so we'll be looking into that and maybe look for another way to reallocate those funds or if that meets our needs. Also, May 31st should have been the spring planting of the 30 new trees that were made available through the grants we received. Then for the Zoning Board of Appeals, they'll meet on June 13th in 1 week to consider a variance for larger signs than normal on the properties at the Aquatox complex. That's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Baumgarten.
Thanks, Mayor. I'll continue the theme of filling in for Mr. Baker while he's not here. But I do want to let everybody know that the Historical Committee has released their new mug for this year. They've heard from the caffeinated people of the world. They've upgraded to a 15-ounce mug this year. And it is adorned with wonderful businesses and restaurants of the past. You've got everybody in here. You've got Domenico's, Thistle Fish and Chips, Northwood Inn, Pepe's, the Spaghetti Company, all here in one convenient place. So it's a deal at any price, but this one will only cost you $15. And as always, the Historical Museum can mail those out. It's just a $6 postage coverage, and so for $15 to get it in person, $21 to have it mailed to you, and yet another wonderful Berkley keepsake from the museum. And they have 144 of them, so they've already said get them quick because they're going fast. My only other item is thank you to the American Legion as well as the VFW. They hosted yet again their wonderful Memorial Day ceremony. It was great to see so many people come out. Couldn't ask for a better day. Sunshine was out and plentiful, and we had a lot of people there taking note and participating in a solemn ceremony hosted by those two wonderful entities of Berkley. So thank you to those two groups. They do a wonderful job. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Christ, thank you for being with us this evening. You've
Good to
been
be here,
very
Mayor.
quiet today.
Well, that's okay.
That's a good thing. No
And
offense.
thank you very much. I have nothing this evening.
Okay. A few things. I want to congratulate the Berkeley Bears varsity softball team on winning their second straight district title. Despite a heavily backloaded schedule that provided a lot of challenges towards the end, but that kind of got them ready to be ready for district. So the Bears will face Lakeview next weekend at Farmington Hills Mercy. Certainly not easy to win the district any season, let alone doing it in back-to-back years, especially when every team is already gunning for you and getting ready to give you their best. I want to congratulate Coach Billy Butash and the entire team and wish them luck against Lakeview this weekend, actually. Also this weekend, it's a busy Saturday in the city, and some of our liaisons were not here, so I'll pinch hit with a couple of things. The Berkeley Art Bash is back at its normally scheduled June date. It is this Saturday. Been going on since 2001, crowds of 10,000 plus, 150 artists, just an incredible event. It will be this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. It'll be also safe, spaced out, shopping fun. Okay, ready for that. And as the chief alluded to earlier, as you make your way towards Coolidge, you might as well just keep going, safely cross 12 Mile, and head over to the Lids for Kids that is happening right outside of here. Lids for Kids was founded by the Public Safety Department, actually in 2001 by Bill Alford. You guys remember Bill? Started that event to educate kids about bike safety, being safe, wearing helmets to protect from head injuries. It continues. The event grows every single year and makes sure that kids are provided certified bike helmets if they want them, T-shirts, all kinds of other cool things and demonstrations that will happen. So it's going to be a very exciting Saturday in our community. And yeah, that's it. All right, we're going to leave it there. We're going to leave it there. With that, I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support. Motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Dean with support from Council Member Hennon. Ms. Mitchell, would you please call the roll?
Dean,
Yes.
Hennon,
Yes.
Price,
Yes.
Turbrack.
Yes. The June 6th, 2022 meeting of the 39th Council of the City of Berkeley is adjourned.